recently downgraded South Africa's economic growth focus to below 1%. This spells bad news to the property market. With deindustrialization on the rise for the property market, the downgrade will further dampen its hope of growth. This means that the property market will experience further rising vacancy rates, pressure on rental growth, and real capital depreciation.
More real capital value decline. Our forecasts at First Rand are for GDP growth to stumble along at mediocre levels, not far from 1% per year. And I don't think that's enough to significantly stimulate property or demand for either for space from the tenant population or demand for property itself, as in from a buying point of view. So I think we're going to sit with this real value decline for quite some years to come.
With the weak economic growth threatening the property market's tenants, forcing them to close down or move to smaller spaces, thus impacting the survival of the surrounding communities who depend on the industrial sector for jobs to put food on the table at the end of the day.
Things have become more difficult with firms closing down. We have no choice but to come here every day to market ourselves.
10 years ago, I worked in one of the firms in the area, but it shut down. And this has affected me in a way that I can no longer afford to buy food at home.
As these firms close down in Robertville, we as the community are affected because we no longer have a plan. Things are not going well and we have kids at home who depend on us to bring food to the table. So we plead to government to please support us.
Following increased policy uncertainty, slow pace of structural reforms and limited fiscal space and restricted public spending, existing industrial property owners are reluctant to sell their industrial properties, saying that they are hanging on by the thread. However, they remain optimistic and hopeful that the budget speech will boost investor confidence to remain relevant.
Investor confidence has been eroded of what has been happening. We're actually hanging on a thread of being downgraded. So we're hoping for a miracle with a budget speech of our Minister Tito Mboweni. But it's not a matter of when anymore. It's a matter of if. It's just a matter of when. But having said that, we are still working in the industry and we're still doing deals. So we remain optimistic.
An expansion of the South African economy is the key to translate into a sudden growth for the industrial property sector. However, Lou says that the property market will have to live with this reality for now and years to come. Nothando Makutulela, SABC News, Johannesburg.